Hey, Shannon here, and this is for all you business leaders. So let's talk about leading spectacularly. You know what? Become tomorrow's empowered leader. And what that means is, I'm sure because you're a business leader, you are professionally successful. You have a career, hopefully, that you love. But do you have a fulfilling personal life? Now, 98% of people don't. They think they you have to choose between that professional life versus their personal life, and you don't have to choose. You can actually have both. So we're going to teach you how. But today, let's talk a little bit about how to lead spectacularly and how to become the leader in your industry that everybody wants to be. Now, the first I'm going to be real with you. In order for you to actually be a terrific, phenomenal leader, a spectacular leader, you need to live your best life. You need to be in harmony with your career, your professional life, and your personal life. The bonus is by the time you learn how to have both, you're going to feel alive. So you're no longer going to be just surviving life, getting through life. You're going to be living it. All right, so in order to lead spectacularly, you need to learn how to unshelf yourself. Learn how to become good at relationships, and not just any relationship, not just your love relationships, but relationships with yourself, your friends, your family, your intimate relationships, but also relationships with those you work with, your customers, your coworkers, your peers, but also your relationships with money, because relationships is in all aspects, right? You have a relationship with money, and most people don't like to talk about money. Now, we'll dive into more depth conversations about money and relationships that people have in another video. But right now, let's talk about relationships in general. You know, if you're like me, you do this deep dive into your career, and you become so busy, so consumed with doing that, because it's a great way to avoid your personal life. You're very successful in your career, but your personal life just is not that successful, to the point that you feel like you're bad at relationships. That's how I was. Is that how you're feeling right now? It's okay if you are. But you know what? I got good news for you. It's not that you're bad at relationships. It's just you haven't learned how to be good at relationships. So let's redefine our perspective of relationships. Now, I have a little story to share with you. Growing up, my grandparents, they married young, and they were married until one passed away. My grandma had died, and I remember she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's because she had the symptoms, and it was back in the day before depression or chronic severe depression was really talked about, or really a thing like it is now. And so for her brain started to shrink because she would sit in the dark in her house all the time. And so after several years, her brain started to shrink, and she forgot her ABCs. And then eventually she couldn't write her name. She forgot how to feed herself, and it went on until she couldn't walk no more. Almost 17 years. And through this whole time, my grandpa took care of her. He was her primary caregiver. And I remember everybody asking, why don't you put her in a home? Or at least, bring somebody in, a live-in nurse to take care of her. Now, Grandpa, I remember him politely saying, no, I'm not going to do that. That's my wife. I married her till death do us part. I promise to cherish and take care of her no matter what. I love her, and that's what I'm going to do. I made a vow to her, and I'm going to stand by it no matter what. Now, I'm not saying to have a good relationship you have to, no matter what, take care of your spouse, because that is a very hard thing to do, especially for 17 years. But what I am saying is, through all that, right, as a young child, I remember hearing this and thinking, "Oh, that's love." I want somebody to love me like that one day. I want somebody to stand by me like my grandpa stood by my grandma. See, the thing is, the one thing that people never forget is how you make them feel. You don't always remember what somebody said or what they wore the day that you did whatever with them. What you do remember is how you feel. And what I remember is how that made me feel. That awe moment, that awe feeling. Because what I heard to me sounded like love. It felt like love. And that's what I remembered. So subconsciously, as I got older, and I didn't even realize this, but I always looked for perfect relationships. I always looked for somebody who's going to stand by me no matter what. Now, if you've read my book, Positive Words, Positive Vibes, you will know that there is no such thing as perfection. It's a fairy tale. And it's a lie that I was looking for. So instead, what I did do was I learned, looking back, I learned that I wasn't looking at the whole picture. I was so focused on that feeling that I was left with of how much they were in love and how I wanted that one day, that it never dawned on me just how hard and difficult that relationship was. What it must have taken my grandpa to go through something like that. It's no easy feat. Definitely a lot of commitment, but it's not easy. And it wasn't easy on the relationship. Now, I knew this old cowboy, his name was Lyle. Him and his wife, they never fought. I've never seen them fight. I mean, I know they fought, but I've never seen them fight. And he told me a story one time about how she almost divorced him, which actually it shocked me. I had no idea. They were married for almost 60 years. He died the week before their 60th wedding anniversary. She was his high school sweetheart. And he did tell me that there was times where they would fight and times when, they got along, and he didn't know what the others did, but he what they did for each other, it worked for them. And so really at the end of the day, they listened to each other. They communicated. So there's three things to a good relationship. Value. There has to be value within the relationship, going both ways. You have to give value and they have to give you value. And then there's support. And I'm not talking about financial support where somebody pays all your bills or you pay their bills. No, I'm talking about emotional support, the kind of support that cheers you on and supports you in your decisions and understands you, regardless if they think you're right or wrong, but they still support you and they don't put you down for it. An example would be I dated this guy, and for the first time in my life, he was very supportive. I wanted to go grow my education, supported me and cheered me on 100%, told me I should go for it. And when I felt like I can't do this no more, I'm done, he supported me. He sat there and cheered me on and said, no, you got this. You've gone this far and you've achieved this much. Finish it. And I did. And through all that, you have value, you have support, but you also have communication. Communication is the thing that everybody needs in a relationship, no matter what kind of relationship it is. You know, you need to have hard conversations and in-depth conversations. With communication, you know exactly where you stand and where the other person stands. But not only that, you come to understand each other. So those are the three main things that you need to have a good relationship. But for me, you know, I used to have this idea of what relationships look like. And what I realize now is, you know, when I think of Lyle's story or my grandparents' story, you know, it's the combination of that awe feeling of love that I saw with my grandparents and looking at Lyle and his wife and thinking, oh my gosh, they never fought. They always looked like they were happy and getting along. And I wanted relationships like that. What I did not realize was you can have those things, but there's so much more to a relationship. There's good and bad. You know, to have a relationship with somebody where even on their worst day, they're still willing to talk to you. Healthy relationships is something that you have to apply effort to. Not just you applying effort, but the people in your environment, within your relationships, they need to apply effort too. It's not a one-way street. And with relationships comes the responsibility, or, you know what, let me put it to you this way. I'm going to leave you with a tip, and please take my advice. Not everybody wants to grow. Some people want to be left where they're at. Some people, they just want to be miserable. And you know what? That's okay. It shouldn't change who you are or where you're going. It shouldn't hinder your own growth. So take my advice and just leave those people where they belong. You can't force somebody else to grow with you. They have to make that choice on their own. So they can either grow with you, or you just need to understand that you're going to have to grow on your own, and they can be left where they're at. So we just have to understand that some people are where they're at, and that's where they belong. Now, jumping back onto becoming good at relationships. You are good at relationships. You just didn't know how to be. So what is your perspective of a great relationship or a good relationship? For me, it's healthy and supportive. And like, okay, so we just got done talking about the 3 secrets to a good relationship. So let's now talk about three things that everybody wants from their relationship. What are the things that people look for, right? So I believe people look for, they want to know that they're a priority. Everybody wants to be a priority. and they want effort. So again, this can apply to your personal life or your professional life. But let's talk about personal for a moment. Although this does apply professionally, effort could be as simple as active listening, applying effort to understand the people you work with. But in your home life, outside of work, it's the little things. It doesn't have to cost a lot. It's just those little things. My daughter's husband, before they got married, she was out riding her horse, and he went and picked wildflowers for her and put it where the halter was at the hitching post. So when she rode back, she'd get her wildflowers because he was just thinking of her. So it's the little things, doing something unexpectedly. That shows that you're applying some effort. Listening means you're applying effort. Having those hard conversations takes a lot of effort. And they are hard. It takes practice and time to get used to having tough conversations. All right, so you have priority and you have effort, and the third thing is respect. Everybody wants to be respected. And it should be a habit that you respect the other people as well. It doesn't mean you have to agree with everything somebody says. It's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can be open, be real, be honest, be loyal, be all those things. But at the end of the day, though, you want to be respectful. You want to apply the effort. And you want to leave them feeling like they're a priority. But you want this to be a two-way street. So value those in your relationships like you want to be valued. So in other words, be the person in the relationship that you want to have. Okay, that's it for today, for this video. And thank you for joining us. I will see you at the next one. Have a great day.